Have you ever wondered what secrets are buried beneath the sands of time? Picture this: ancient Egypt, a civilization that left behind architectural wonders like the Sphinx and the pyramids. But what if everything we've been taught about these iconic structures is just a fraction of their true story? Consider the possibility that the pyramids and the Sphinx could be older than the Egyptians themselves. That the Sphinx might once have been Anubis, the jackal-headed god, and that the pyramids might contain mathematical marvels and alignments with celestial bodies. Intricacies that could suggest a technology or knowledge way beyond the human capability of that era, perhaps pointing towards alien gods. Let's look at the Great Sphinx, a symbol of ancient Egypt that continues to perplex scholars today. The Sphinx is like a silent sentinel, sitting on the Giza plateau, its weathered face gazing eastward towards the rising sun. But if you examine the Sphinx closely, there are clues in its geology that suggest its story may be more complex than we initially thought. One geologist, Dr. Robert Schoch, first brought attention to this in the 90s when he proposed a controversial theory about the Sphinx's age. He noticed that the erosion patterns on the Sphinx appeared to have been caused by water. Not just a bit of rain, but thousands of years of heavy rainfall, the kind that hasn't occurred in the Giza region for about 10,000 years since the end of the last ice age. Now, traditional Egyptology places the construction of the Sphinx in the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, around 2500 BCE, when the area was already an arid desert. So, where did this water come from? Schoch proposed that the Sphinx may be far older than traditionally believed, dating back to a time when Egypt was a lush tropical landscape with heavy monsoons and flash floods. Of course, the implications of this are profound, shaking the bedrock of our historical understanding. If the Sphinx was weathered by water, and this weathering occurred before Egypt became a desert, it would mean that the monument was already ancient by the time the first pharaoh took the throne. It also begs the question, who built it? The civilization capable of such monumental architecture would predate any we know of. Could there be an unknown advanced civilization lost to the sands of time waiting to be discovered? Isn't that what makes history so exciting? The fact that we don't have all the answers yet. Let's now delve into an even more controversial theory surrounding the Sphinx. Now we've all been brought up knowing it as the Sphinx, but what if it wasn't always a lion-bodied, human-headed creature that we see today? What if it was something different? This theory brings us to Robert Temple, a British author and researcher. He proposed a highly debated theory that the Great Sphinx was originally not a sphinx at all, but was instead a massive statue of the jackal god Anubis. Yes, you heard it right. Anubis, the god of embalming and the dead, known for guiding souls in the afterlife. But why Anubis? Temple noted that the current human head of the Sphinx is proportionally much smaller than its body, which could indicate that the head was recarved from a larger original. In this case, a jackal head would fit the larger body better in proportion. Besides, Anubis is typically portrayed as a recumbent canine or a muscular man with a jackal's head, not so far from the Sphinx's current layout. Moreover, there's the location of the Sphinx to consider. It sits in front of the Khafre's pyramid as if it's guarding the entrance to the afterlife, a job usually assigned to Anubis in ancient Egyptian mythology. Could it be that the Sphinx, which literally means living image, was the living image of Anubis instead of the human-headed lion we see today? As you might imagine, this hypothesis has been met with skepticism from mainstream Egyptologists. There are many factors to consider, including the established symbolism of lion-bodied creatures in the ancient world and the absence of any ancient texts referring to the Sphinx as Anubis. Our curiosity is only just getting started. Theories like these challenge the status quo and keep us asking questions. After all, isn't it a bit weird? The awe-inspiring Great Pyramids of Giza are not only remarkable because of their massive scale, but also due to their mathematical precision and alignment. You know, the kind of precision that is surprisingly difficult to achieve even today with all our modern technology and tools. This leads us to ask, how could an ancient civilization accomplish such a feat? Let's start with the Great Pyramid of Giza, also known as the Pyramid of Khufu. It's the largest of the three pyramids, originally standing at an astonishing 481 feet. Not to mention, it was the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, until the completion of Lincoln Cathedral in England in the 14th century. But it's not just about the size. The base of the Great Pyramid is a near-perfect square, with each side measuring about 756 feet. The level of precision is such that the difference in lengths between the four sides is less than 2 inches. Moreover, each side of the pyramid is carefully aligned to one of the cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west, again with an astoundingly minimal error. This already seems remarkable, right? But hold on to your seats, because it's about to get a lot more intriguing. The Pyramid of Khufu, along with the other 2 pyramids of Giza, are positioned in a way that mirrors the alignment of the 3 stars in the belt of the constellation Orion. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Orion was associated with the god Osiris, the god of the afterlife. This cosmic correlation suggests a deep understanding of astronomy that goes beyond mere chance. The mathematical sophistication and astronomical alignment present in these pyramids point to a highly advanced civilization, but again, the question remains: how was this accomplished? Mainstream history tells us that this was all done by sheer human ingenuity and labor, using simple tools and methods. Others, however, speculate about intervention from a higher intelligence, perhaps even extraterrestrial. The theories are as vast and intriguing as the pyramids themselves. Isn't it all just amazing? Or maybe it's just a bit weird. There's a saying that goes, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. If we were to time travel thousands of years back and show a smartphone to the ancient Egyptians, they would likely see it as a divine or magical artifact. With this perspective, some researchers suggest that the pyramids, and indeed much of the awe-inspiring accomplishments of ancient Egypt, may have been influenced or even directly facilitated by extraterrestrial entities, whom the ancients may have perceived as gods. There is a theory known as the ancient astronaut theory that proposes the interaction of extraterrestrial beings with ancient humans. Supporters of this theory suggest that much of the technology, knowledge, and spiritual understanding of our ancient civilizations was handed down from these celestial visitors. The idea has gained popularity due to authors like Erich von Däniken and shows like Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. Let's take a closer look at this theory in the context of ancient Egypt. Proponents point out that the construction of the pyramids, especially given the remarkable mathematical precision and astronomical alignments, could not have been possible with the tools and knowledge known to exist during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu. Therefore, they argue, the pyramids might be the result of technology or knowledge provided by an advanced, non-human civilization. Further fueling this theory are the Egyptian texts and artwork that seem to depict what could be interpreted as advanced technology or celestial beings. One example is the hieroglyphs in the Temple of Seti I in Abydos that bear an uncanny resemblance to modern aircrafts. Also, many ancient Egyptian deities were associated with celestial bodies and were believed to possess incredible powers. Could it be that these gods were extraterrestrials, perceived as divine due to their advanced technology and knowledge? Were they the ones who instructed or aided the Egyptians in constructing the pyramids? The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just a testament to the engineering prowess of the ancient Egyptians, it's also an architectural mystery that seems to embed a deep connection to the cosmos. Let's delve into the intriguing details of how the structures on the Giza Plateau reflect an intimate understanding of the heavens, an understanding that seems surprisingly advanced for a civilization from more than 4,000 years ago. It's well known that the layout of the 3 primary pyramids mirrors the positioning of the stars in Orion's belt. This correlation was brought to the forefront by Robert Bauval and Adrian Gilbert in their Orion correlation theory. The 3 stars of Orion's belt, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, align almost perfectly with the apexes of the 3 pyramids of Giza. Moreover, the orientation of the pyramids to the north is so precise that it deviates from true north by just 3/60th of a degree. Could the builders have had an advanced astronomical knowledge, or perhaps assistance from a more advanced civilization? Going deeper, the Great Pyramid itself has elements of celestial alignment. Its narrow shafts, dubbed air shafts or spirit stones, seem to be aimed at specific stars. The southern shaft of the King's Chamber points to Orion, while the northern shaft points to the circumpolar stars. Similarly, in the Queen's Chamber, one shaft points to Sirius, the brightest star in the sky, and another points to the Ursa Minor constellation. It's fascinating to think that these structures, built thousands of years ago, could act as star pointers. Adding another layer of intrigue, the Sphinx also shows signs of astronomical alignments. The Sphinx faces due east, and some theorists propose that it was designed to observe the equinoxes and solstices. The theory of the Sphinx representing the constellation of Leo during the Age of Leo, approximately 10,500 BCE, as proposed by Robert Bauval and Graham Hancock, challenges mainstream chronology and makes us question our understanding of the Sphinx and its origins. While skeptics argue these alignments could be coincidental, it's hard to dismiss the accuracy and precision involved. Could it be a random occurrence, or is it evidence of an ancient civilization that had deep astronomical knowledge? Or perhaps even a sign of extraterrestrial intervention? As we continue to explore and decipher the secrets of ancient Egypt, the questions just keep piling up. And as always, thanks for watching. As we delve into the past, we discover that our history is full of mysteries and questions that even today's technology struggles to answer. From water erosion on the Sphinx to the possibility of Anubis taking its place, from the marvel of mathematical precision in pyramids to the curious celestial alignments, we're left pondering if human hands alone were capable of these feats, or if there were other extraterrestrial forces at play. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, one thing is for sure: the more we explore, the more fascinating our world becomes. What if I told you that beneath the sprawling modern cityscapes and the timeless deserts, there's another world lurking? A world that thrived when mammoths still roamed and the Sahara was lush with vegetation. It's a world where colossal structures and cities, thought to be younger, were in fact the creations of civilizations lost to us in the mists of prehistory. Today, we're diving deep into the world of submerged cities, signs of catastrophic floods, the ancient Egyptian civilization, and their monuments like the Sphinx and the pyramids. So, let's embark on this journey through time, unlocking secrets hidden beneath waves and sand dunes. Let's now journey south, along the lifeline of one of the world's greatest civilizations, the Nile. Egypt, the land of the pharaohs, was home to bustling metropolises, temples, and cities that are now covered by the waters of the Nile and the Mediterranean. Two of these cities, Thonis, Heracleion, and Canopus, were found submerged under Abu Qir Bay near Alexandria in the late 20th century. Thonis Heracleion, once a prosperous port city, was lost to the world around 1200 years ago. As to what led to its submergence, it's believed that a combination of rising sea levels, land subsidence, and possibly a catastrophic event like an earthquake led to its sinking. Imagine walking down the streets of this city, once populated by thousands, now silent except for the occasional sound of aquatic life. The city was discovered in 2000 by a team led by French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudiot. They found the ruins spread over 11 kilometers, including 64 ships, 700 anchors, gold coins, weights from Athens, which have never before been found at an Egyptian site, statues standing 16 feet tall, and most notably the remains of a massive temple to the god Amun-Gareb. In its glory days, Thonis Heracleion was Egypt's main international trading post, receiving goods from Greece, the Middle East, and other parts of Africa. Nearby, the city of Canopus was also rediscovered, a center for the worship of the god Serapis. The city was known for its temples and pilgrimage sites, attracting people from all corners of the ancient world. The treasures recovered from the site include a perfectly preserved bust of a Ptolemaic queen, grand statues of gods and goddesses, and intricate amulets. Now, let's head over to the iconic Giza Plateau, the site of the Great Sphinx and the pyramids. These structures are a testament to the grandeur of ancient Egypt, but could they also bear the signs of a great flood? Some researchers believe so. The Sphinx, carved from the bedrock of the Giza Plateau, exhibits a degree of erosion that some geologists argue is consistent with water damage. This is a particularly curious phenomenon given that the Sphinx is located in one of the driest places on Earth. Where could such extensive water damage have come from? This has led to the controversial Sphinx water erosion hypothesis. According to this theory, proposed by individuals like geologist Robert Schoch and author John Anthony West, the erosion on the Sphinx indicates that it was subjected to a prolonged period of heavy rainfall. But there's a twist. The last time Egypt experienced the level of rainfall capable of causing such erosion was at the end of the last ice age around 10,000 BCE. long before the civilization we know as ancient Egypt even began. This theory suggests that the Sphinx, and possibly even the pyramids, were already standing by the time the first pharaohs took the throne, and the ancient Egyptians merely rediscovered and repurposed these ancient structures. Furthermore, some believe that the pyramids show signs of being submerged underwater at some point, as evident from the presence of fossil shells and petrified wood in and around the pyramids. Again, these are just theories, but they spark a fascinating discussion and provide a fresh perspective on the origins of these mysterious structures. It's a fascinating speculation. Could there be more hidden beneath the vast sands of Egypt, swept under by the relentless waves of a catastrophic flood? Let's explore. Some researchers propose that the uniform layer of silt found across large parts of Egypt could be evidence of a massive flooding event. This layer of silt, often several meters deep, could have resulted from gigantic waves that would have moved vast amounts of sand and silt, potentially burying existing structures. Support for this theory can be found in the studies of sedimentary deposits in the Nile Valley. These deposits indicate instances of rapid, short-term increases in the rate of sedimentation, suggestive of a large-scale flooding event. Such an event would have drastically altered the landscape, burying existing structures under meters of sand and sediment. The evidence of tsunami-like events in the Mediterranean basin in the past adds further weight to this theory. Some of these tsunamis could have inundated large parts of Egypt's coast, carrying with them sand from the seabed and depositing it far inland. The idea that there could be more pyramids and other structures hidden under Egypt's sands is indeed thought-inducing. Several buried structures have already been discovered in recent years using ground-penetrating radar and other technologies. The potential that there are more secrets to unearth deepens the intrigue of this ancient land. The possibility of a massive flood event having contributed to the reshaping of the landscape opens up new avenues of research and exploration. Egypt, a cradle of human civilization, continues to reveal its past, piece by piece, challenging our understanding of history. We've all heard of the biblical story of Noah's Ark, but the flood narrative isn't unique to Judeo-Christian tradition. From ancient Sumerian tales to Greek mythology to Hindu scriptures, stories of great floods wiping out civilizations and being survived by a handful of individuals are almost universal. So let's plunge into these flood myths and look for evidence. The oldest known flood myth is the Epic of Gilgamesh, originating from ancient Sumer, in which the gods send a flood to wipe out humanity. But one man, Utnapishtim, is warned in advance and builds a great boat to survive. Sound familiar? In Greek mythology, we have the story of Deucalion and Pyrrha, who survive a great deluge sent by Zeus by building a chest. After the flood, they repopulate the earth by throwing stones over their shoulders, which transform into people. The Hindu tradition speaks of a great flood in the story of Manu, the progenitor of mankind. Warned of the impending deluge by a fish, an avatar of the god Vishnu, Manu builds a boat and rescues himself along with the seeds of life to start humanity anew after the floodwaters recede. These myths, scattered across different continents and cultures, all bear striking resemblances to each other, despite being thousands of years old. Could they be retelling the same event? Some researchers believe these myths might be distant, cultural memories of real events, perhaps the flooding at the end of the last ice age when sea levels rose dramatically. Several archaeological sites seem to support this theory. The ancient city of Dwarka, described in Hindu scriptures, was discovered underwater off the coast of modern-day India. Some claim that its submersion aligns with the timeline of the flood described in the story of Manu. In the Mediterranean, evidence of prehistoric settlements was found submerged near the coasts of Greece and Turkey. Were these thriving communities that were swallowed by the sea at the end of the Ice Age? While we need more archaeological and geological evidence to validate these theories, the parallels in these flood myths and their potential connections to submerged archaeological sites make us wonder, could these myths be echoes from a time when sea levels rose, engulfing coastal communities and reshaping our world? The very notion is like a riddle waiting to be solved, a story waiting to be told hidden beneath the waves of our ancient past. Contrary to what we've come to accept about the parched Sahara Desert, the time-worn structures of ancient Egypt tell a different story, an earth-shattering tale that speaks of a time when this arid landscape was a verdant paradise. Let's delve into it. Some researchers believe that the visible water erosion on the Sphinx and the pyramids could indicate that these structures were built during or before a wetter period in Egypt's history. The theory hinges on the existence of unmistakable signs of water erosion, particularly on the Great Sphinx. These erosion patterns do not match the patterns seen on structures known to be built in the dry climate of the last few thousand years. Water erosion on the Sphinx and the pyramids is more consistent with the erosion caused by heavy rainfall than by windsand erosion. Rainfall of such a magnitude hasn't been seen in the region for many thousands of years, predating the conventional timeline of the Sphinx and the pyramids. This theory has led some to speculate that the Sphinx and the pyramids were constructed during the last humid period in the Sahara, known as the African humid period, which ended around 5000 BC. That's several millennia before the accepted timeline for the construction of these monuments. If the water erosion theory is correct, it could radically change our understanding of Egypt's history. A lush, green Egypt, with rivers and forests where we now find sand, dramatically changes the backdrop against which we picture these ancient civilizations. It also paints a vivid picture of how drastically our planet's climate can change over long periods. Ancient Egypt's pyramids continue to draw us in with their grandeur and their complex symbolism. Yet the pyramids might not be the sole achievement of the ancient Egyptians we know today. In fact, some theories suggest that they were built by an even older, pre-dynastic civilization, and the Egyptians merely moved in after a catastrophic flood. Egyptology traditionally holds that the pyramids were built around 2600 BCE, primarily as tombs for pharaohs. Yet, some theorists argue that there is evidence to suggest that the pyramids, specifically the Great Pyramid of Giza, were built by a technologically advanced civilization that predates the Egyptians. Architectural elements, such as the precise alignment of the pyramids to true north, their sophisticated understanding of mathematics and geometry, and the construction technique used in building these massive structures, all seem to suggest a level of knowledge that was quite advanced for the time. The Sphinx also adds to this theory. Geological studies on the erosion patterns of the Sphinx suggest that it might have been exposed to thousands of years of rainfall, yet Egypt's arid climate hasn't seen such rain for at least 8,000 years. This has led some to propose that the Sphinx was built by an older civilization that existed during a more temperate climate. The theory of a pre-existing civilization becomes even more intriguing when we consider the flood myths that permeate cultures around the world, including that of the ancient Egyptians. Could it be that the pyramids were built by an advanced civilization that was wiped out by a global flood event, only for the structures to be later adopted by the surviving Egyptians? Before we bid adieu, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've explored. If our understanding of history could be so significantly altered by water erosion marks on the Sphinx and the pyramids, or by cities hidden beneath the sea, think of the countless other secrets waiting to be unearthed. What we consider fact today may just be the stepping stone to a more profound truth hidden beneath layers of sand, water, and time. So keep asking, keep exploring, and remember, the past is a puzzle, a grand, sprawling jigsaw that we are only beginning to assemble. And as always, thanks for watching.